Welcome back to the World Touring Car Series here in Sainte-Croix for the 4th round of the championship. We will be starting in 4th on the grid for the sprint race after a decent qualifying session. The 3 drivers ahead of us are Jorge Caro, Auge Rimkunas and Jos Everts.
Get ready, going
The lights
green.
are about to come on and we prepare ourselves to the start of the race. And the lights are out. Bit of a late reaction, but it's a good start nonetheless. Auge in front of us has a very poor launch and we get past him right off the bat. Already up into P3 as I slot behind Caro heading into turn 1. Coming into turn 1 now, I have a much better run through and out of the corner. Getting very close to Caro on exit, getting all into his slipstream. On the run down to turn 2 now, I switch over to the outside. I try to get slipstream off of Jos ahead. Still not quite managing to get alongside, however braking for turn 2. I managed to get alongside him. I try to give him space, however make contact. I run out wide off the track and just about managed to keep it out of the wall. As we now tumble down the order. Jorge stays in P2 as D, Fantan, Auge and J. Kirkham all pass me and I'm now down to P6. But now through this flat out section I sit behind Jay and slowly start to gain back time. And going into this corner I go for a dive bomb down the inside of Jay, almost overshooting into the back of Auge's car. Run out wide a bit, very slow at the apex, so Jay has the chance to do a switchback on me. However, coming out of the corner we're still alongside. I have shorter gears than Jay, so I slowly start to catch back up. But right as I'm about to go door to door with Jay, a full course yellow comes out for a crash behind and I'm forced to yield. Since this is just a short sprint race, I won't be pitting, so we can skip straight to the restart. After 2 whole laps under full course yellow, we are finally about to go green once again. And as the green flag falls, my restart is not great compared to Jay ahead, but Jacob behind doesn't seem to get a much better restart than me anyways. So we're safe in P6 for now. On the run down to turn 1 I see a massive fight up ahead, so I decided to use that as an opportunity to try and catch back up a little bit. Going into turn 1 car bottoms out massively, but I've already caught up a little bit more to the pack ahead. Now entering turn 2, Auge is gonna look for a move down the inside of D. However he overshoots it, goes off the track and D goes for a switchback, gets the position back as me and Jay both go and pass him. Through the flat out left-hander now, that's also set up D with a slow exit, so Jay is gonna look for a move down the inside. They're side by side. I'm still following them, looking for a gap to take advantage of. Auge is gonna try and look for something around the outside, but he can't do anything. And I move up into P5 as D goes for a crazy dive bomb on Jay, overshoots it, goes wide, and now Jay's gonna set up a switchback going to the bridge. I set up an even better exit and coming onto the bridge. Now I have a better exit than both of them, and I blast right past them, passing 2 cars at once. D and J still fighting behind, but going into the next corner my car bottoms out massively. I understeer, almost going to the barrier. D blasts past me, and now I have to defend from Auge and J behind, who are both side by side fighting. Little tap from J behind, however we managed to defend well and keep the positions. Going into the next corner, D goes deep. I get a really good run through and out of the corner, and now I'm right on his tail. Chasing him on a run down to the final corner, we're side by side, door to door. Going into the final corner, I outbrake him. However, coming out of the corner, I get a massive amount of understeer, hit the barrier. D is caught out by that, hits me in the rear. I'm sideways and I drift right into the path of his car. He flips upside down behind me. My car is totally destroyed. My front and right panel are red. My front right suspension arm is broken. My steering wheel is 90 degrees to the left. And for whatever reason, that's not an instant full course yellow. I decide to keep going though. I don't want to retire. I want to try and get this car back to the pits and repair it, because I know eventually a full course yellow is gonna come out. And although very late, a full course yellow does come out, and that allows me to pit for repairs and still be able to catch back up to the pack. And now with my car fully repaired, I've caught up to the back of the pack, and now I have a whole lot of work to do to get back up to the podium positions, if I even can. And as the green flag falls, I have a much better restart than the first full course yellow. And I'm instantly on the back of Evan ahead, slowly catching up to him, getting all up into his slipstream, going into turn 1. He's side by side with Alex ahead. I try to go for a switchback to get alongside him. Little slide from Evan, which allows me to get even closer. And now on the run down to turn 2, we're nearly 4 wide. Going into turn 2, we actually are 4 wide. I decide to back out of the move, but Ifantan gives Evan a little bit of a tap, and that forces me to also give Evan a little bit of a tap in the rear. We're 3 wide going to the flat out left-hander, but Evan just straight lines it and takes both me and Alex out. My whole car's damaged once again. I'm right back to square one, and the full course yellow comes out right after. According to Evan, his wheel disconnected right as we went through the left-hander, which makes the whole incident even more unfortunate for us, as there was literally nothing we could have done there. Now, since this is lap 8 out of 10, I know that the full course yellow will end really soon, and I won't have time to pit for repairs and catch back up. So as severe as the damage is, I'm forced to keep going. But now on the safety car restart is when really weird shit starts to happen. So first we're told by the FIA that they will try to get one more lap of racing in. But then as we approach the last corner, the FIA says that the race is over and to pull into the pits. While at the same time, the message for the full course yellow ending comes up on screen. So at this point, I'm just confused. I'm asking in chat if we're going green or not. I see the cars ahead start to go and I go as well, with Jos Everts in P2 having to be the one to call the green flag command in chat. And as the green flag falls, Olga pulls over to the side of the track, actually thinking that the race ended. However, it hasn't. We're all still going. Everyone's just as confused as I am. And from this point on, I try to do something. However, with all the damage I've sustained, there's only so much I can do. I follow D on the run down to turn 2 as he's busy fighting with Marshner alongside now. Going into turn 2, I try and see if there's an opportunity for me to make a move. D goes for a switchback on Marshner, who goes off the track. And I now have an opportunity to get past Marshner, going into flat left-hander. However, Marshner takes out D, and I almost spin it myself. And I get past 2 cars in one, up to P7 now. And from this point on, I slowly pull away from Marshner, with my only goal being to nurse this car to the end despite all the damage I've got and try to salvage some points from this disaster of a race. I only gained one more position on the following lap, due to Jacob, who seems to have spun off, hit the wall and sustained a lot of damage. And as he's limping his way through the flat left-hander, I pass him on the outside to get up to P6. And as we cross the line, we finish the sprint race in P6. However, after the race, it was decided that the finishing positions will be taken from the lap right before the final safety car, due to the whole mess that the FIA caused. Now, there's just one tiny little problem with that. Is that at the start of the final safety car, I was all the way down in P12, which means that I finished the sprint race in 12th position, scoring 0 points, while my main championship rival finished in 2nd place. Not a great result at all, and that also means that all my efforts to try and salvage some points have all gone to waste. But we still have the feature race to get a good result, right? Onto the feature race now, starting all the way down in P12 with a whole lot of work to do. It's a long race though, 21 laps, 40 minutes, we have all the time in the world to make our way back up to at least the podium positions. We also got a new steward this race to replace the previous one who's made some questionable decisions the past couple of races. Anyways, as the lights come on, we prepare ourselves for the start of the feature race. And it's lights out and we get a pretty average start. However, not the worst one as we quickly close into Jemison, but we're also under attack from Evan behind, quickly making it 3 wide on the run down to turn 1, which then becomes 4 wide for just a brief moment. I'm sandwiched. Alex next to me has a little bit of a snap going into the corner, and that bounces me into Jemson's car on the right. Thankfully, none of us are taken out and we keep on going. Coming out of the corner now, we're still 3 wide. However, I have a bad exit because I was on the extreme outside, and now braking for turn 2. Little bit of scraping between me and Alex. However, we managed to make it through unscathed, and I come out of turn 2 ahead of everyone in that fight, already up into P9 in the 2 corners of the opening lap. Things are looking good. Huge 3-way fight ahead between Marshner, D and Auge. Huge moment from Auge, and I have to take evading action, which causes me to go wide, dip my wheels in the grass a little as I slot back in behind Auge. Going into the bridge, I try to set up a good exit. And now on the bridge, I start to slowly catch up to Auge. He tries to cover the inside, or he leaves a gap open, and I stick my car in there. I try to get D slipstream to try and help me a little bit. And going into the next corner, I brake late. We're 3 wide. I'm alongside with D. However, I don't have enough space to make a move on D, but I do have enough space to make a move on Auge. Move him up into P8. I'm now chasing D. Marshner has a huge moment coming out of the corner, and we're now 3 wide going up the hill. I get past Marshner, up into P7, alongside with D. I'm gonna try and brake later than him. I do, and I get past D. Up into P6 now. Gained 6 positions on the opening lap. We're looking really good. I spend the next half a lap trying to catch up to the pack ahead. And going into the bridge, Jay's very deep on the brakes while fighting a Gatino. Takes Jacob out as he makes his way back to the racing line. And now coming out of the corner onto the bridge, I have a very good exit. And I slowly start to catch up to Jay. And just as I'm about to get alongside, the safety car comes out. Once again, a repeat of the sprint race. I hope that's not foreshadowing for something that'll happen later in the race. Anyways, as I get to the main straight, I make a very late call to pit for hards. Now, while it is still very early in the race, I know that I can make the hards last the distance while still being on pace with everyone else. And coming out of the pits, I'm back down to P12 behind Ruben. Skipping ahead to the restart now, I have a very bad restart with Ruben instantly pulling away from me. Thankfully, Kuro behind doesn't seem to get a much better restart, so I sit in P11. The green flag announcement doesn't come immediately because the new steward hasn't been briefed on the race admin commands. But anyways, coming into turn 1, I close the distance to Ruben a lot. And coming out of turn 1, I have a much better exit. And slotting in behind the slipstream, I slowly start catching him. And while he's busy looking for a move down the inside of Alex, I brake late and get alongside, and going through turn 2, I try to look for a move around the outside but fail. Now he's locked back in behind him, following him all the way throughout the flat left-hander. I get a better run through and try to get alongside him, but I almost run out of track and I'm forced to brake, dipping some of my wheels in the grass. Going into the next corner, I decide to dive it down the inside. Make the apex. Beautiful dive down the inside. However, he sticks his nose in right as I'm turning in and he takes me out. And from here on, I start tumbling down the order. 11th, 12th, 13th, 15th, 17th. I'm down to 18th place. And all of that effort has gone down the drain, and now I have even more work to do. The worst part is that wasn't a safety car worthy incident, so it's all on me and my pace to catch back up from here. And that's what I do. For the next 2 laps from here, I drive as hard as I can to try and catch back up to the pack ahead. And come the start of lap 7, I've caught up to P17 now. There's a huge 4-way fight ahead of me, so I know something's gonna happen. I'm just gonna sit back, wait for it. And going into turn 2, I see them going 3 wide. So expecting a crash, I try to set up a good exit. But coming out of the corner, Jemson hits Jacob. Jemson is in the wall, and then he lags back into my car. And then I skate across the track and hit the barrier on the right. My car is absolutely destroyed, but I still don't plan on retiring. I still want to try and get the car back to the pits. But then, as I'm going through the left-hander, I accidentally downshift to first. My engine blows, and that's my race over on lap 7 out of 21. Now, looking back at this incident, I could have avoided the crash entirely by taking a tighter line. But the thing is, I was going to make it through up until Jemson just lagged back into my car, and from that point on, there's just nothing I can do at all. And so we come out of this weekend having scored 0 points in total. Huge loss for the championship, and something that's gonna cost me a lot, especially in the final stages at the end of the season. And now looking at the driver standings, I still sit in 2nd place overall, but now over 30 points behind the championship leader Jos Everts, 37 to be exact. And now in terms of the Constructors' Championship, we've fallen all the way down from 1st to 3rd, with a 21 point gap to 1st. Much more salvageable though compared to an almost 40 point gap in the Drivers' Championship. Not much I can do about it though, other than coming back stronger next weekend. So yeah, that's about it. See you in the next one.